Hi everyone. I'm Mumu from Susan's family. Today I'll teach you how to make the tulip pen from a Flowerpot pen holder. This decoration has several parts: the Flowerpot, the floral foam, the pen cover, flowers and decorations. The Flowerpot is crocheted in rounds on an acrylic board, and you'll need to switch colors during the process. Add a leather label after completing it. Several crochet stitches will be used, and they're all marked on the chart, so I won't list them one by one here. Please watch my demonstration for the specific crocheting method. Start with the first round, which is worked into the hole of the acrylic board. There's a protective film on both sides of the acrylic board. Remove the film before crocheting. You can use a thin needle from home to help. Just remove the film on the other side in the same way. Here, to make it easier to watch, I won't remove the film from the sample swatch. Face any side of the acrylic board toward yourself. Take out the corresponding yarn. The sample swatch uses random colors. For specific yarn, color scheme and hook size, please refer to the product detail page and printed pattern instruction. Place the yarn on the acrylic board. Leave a little yarn tail behind any hole. Leave a little yarn tail. Join the yarn. Pull the loop to the same height as the edge of the acrylic board, level with the edge. First, work one chain stitch as the turning chain for the single crochet. It doesn't count as one stitch. Then work 3 single crochets in each hole. Mindful to pull the loops and align them with the edge. Weave the yarn tails in together. Finally, work one slip stitch in the first single crochet stitch to finish. The joining slip stitch at the end doesn't count as one stitch. Need to tighten it up? This completes the first round. Any remaining yarn tails can be trimmed off. Continue crocheting the second round. First, make one chain stitch to start. When crocheting in rounds, starting with a single crochet, you always need to make one chain stitch to begin. I won't repeat this reminder later. Start from the slip stitch insertion position of the previous round. Pick up each stitch in sequence and work single crochets. Complete this round. Finish with a slip stitch. The second round is complete. Move on to crochet the third round. First, work one single crochet. For the next stitch, pick up the back loop only and crochet. Take a look. Each stitch has 2 strands of yarn. The strand closer to you is the front loop, and the other one is the back loop. Insert the hook into the back loop to work a single crochet. Then normally pick up stitches and work 2 single crochets. For the next stitch, work a single crochet in the back loop. After that, keep working 2 single crochets by picking up each stitch. Complete this round. Finish with a slip stitch. The fabric naturally curls here. Turn the right side to the outside, which is the side with the raised texture showing round after round. The front side will have small line segments sticking out like this. The third round is complete. For rounds 4 through 7, continue using the same crochet method as round 2. Pick up each stitch and work a corresponding single crochet. Don't forget the beginning chain and slip stitch. Remember to adjust your tension while crocheting. Keep the fabric from flaring out or pulling in. Perpendicular to the acrylic board. Count the rounds by looking at the raised textures on the right side, round by round. Each raised texture represents 1 round. Don't miss counting the round on the acrylic board. Please refer to the chart and complete it. After completing round 7, slightly enlarge the loop. Pause your crocheting. Now I'll demonstrate round 8. Take the corresponding yarn. Locate the second stitch of round 2. That is, on the left side of the slip stitch mark. On the remaining front loop, join the yarn. Make 3 beginning chains as turning chain. Then work 1 double crochet into the remaining half stitch on the left. Chain 2. Followed by 1 double crochet decrease, or DC2 tog for short. First make 2 incomplete double crochets. Yarn over, insert into the same insertion position as before. Draw the yarn through. Then yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. The first stitch is completed. Continue with the second stitch. Yarn over. Insert into the half stitch remaining on the left. Draw the yarn through. Then yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. The second stitch is completed. Finally, yarn over and draw through all loops at once. The double crochet decrease is completed. Continue with 2 chain stitches. 1 double crochet decrease. First, work an incomplete double crochet at the previous insertion point, and into the half stitch remaining on the left. Finally, yarn over and draw through all loops at once. The double crochet decrease is completed. This round is worked by making a double crochet decrease in each corresponding spot like this, with 2 chain stitches as a transition in between. The double crochet decrease is worked into the same insertion point as the adjacent stitch. Make sure the fabric lies flat against the back when completed. Not too tight or too loose. Continue crocheting this round. Insert the hook into the joining spot for the second stitch of the last double crochet decrease. Finally, crochet 2 chain stitches. Make a slip stitch into the first double crochet stitch from the beginning. Secure with 1 chain stitch. Pull up the loop, leave a tail about 5 cm long, and cut it. This completes round 8. Now move on to round 9. Join the yarn in the chain space on the right side of the yarn tail from the previous round. Start with a special DC4 bobble stitch. Make 3 beginning chains as the turning chain. Work 3 incomplete double crochets into the same position. Pull up the yarn tail together at the same time. Finally, yarn over and draw through all loops in once. 1 special DC4 bobble stitch is completed. Then crochet 2 chain stitches. Work a DC4 bobble stitch into the left chain space. First make 4 incomplete double crochets. Then yarn over and draw through all loops in once. The DC4 bobble stitch is completed. Later referred to simply as the bobble stitch. Continue with 2 chain stitches. This round involves working bobble stitches into the chain spaces from the previous round. With 2 chain stitches as transitions in between. Crochet the entire round following this method. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the starting stitch, and fasten off the yarn. The stitch is located at the top right corner of the bobble stitch. After completion, round 9 will be roughly level with round 7. This completes round 9. Next, we'll work on round 10. Locate the loops from round 7. Continue crocheting. This round involves crocheting rounds 9 and 7 together. First, make a turning chain. Then tidy up round 9 properly. Insert the hook into the chain space on the right side of the yarn tail, and into the first stitch of round 7 from behind. Work 1 single crochet. Then insert the hook into the first bobble stitch and the corresponding second stitch from behind. Work 1 single crochet. Then into the chain space on the left side. Simultaneously insert into the 2 stitches on the left side of round 7. Correspondingly make 2 single crochets. Repeat this process. Continue working single crochets. the bobble stitch, located at the top right corner. Don't make it in the wrong position. After completing the fourth bobble stitch position, you need to make a single crochet increase on the left side, which means inserting into the same stitch and making 2 single crochets. Single crochet increase completed. Continue with 1 single crochet. Finish this chain space position. Then follow the same method for the rest. Refer to the chart and complete this round. Pay attention not to miss any increase points. Finally, in the starting chain space, make 1 more single crochet increase. You can check the stitch count now. Join with a slip stitch to finish. Round 10 is completed. Rounds 11 to 21. Continue crocheting in rounds counterclockwise. Remember to increase at the corresponding rounds. Simply pick up all the corresponding stitches from the previous round and crochet accordingly. Refer to the chart to complete this part. Now work on round 22. From this round, you need to crochet on the wrong side. Start by making a turning chain. Turn the work counterclockwise, beginning at the last stitch of the previous round. Match each stitch and work single crochets across, mindful that when working on the wrong side, the stitches are located at the upper left. The final single crochet goes into the slip stitch position from the previous round. Finish with a slip stitch. Round 22 is now completed. Next is round 23. Continue crocheting on the wrong side. Finish with a slip stitch. Round 23 is completed. Now work on round 24. This round, pick up the back loops only and work single crochets. Finish with a slip stitch. Round 24 is completed. Round 25 follows next. Crochet following the same method as round 24, picking up the back loops only. For the remaining rounds, pick up each stitch and crochet accordingly. Refer to the chart to complete this part. On the final round, do not tighten the slip stitch. Stretch the loop larger. Leave a yarn tail of about 10 centimeters, then cut the yarn to finish off. Insert the hook into the left stitch from the slip stitch insertion point. Then go back through the braid where the yarn tail is located. Adjust it slightly. This way, the finishing won't show any slip stitch marks. Weave in the yarn tail along the backside texture of the single crochet. Then flip the last few rounds to the right side. These 2 rounds with horizontal line texture should be on top. That's all for the explanation of crocheting the flower pot. Next, sew on the leather label to the outside of the flower pot. Cut a piece of yarn used for crocheting the flower pot. Take out 2 strands and thread them through the yarn needle. Tie a knot at the end of the yarn. Take the leather label. Sew the leather label on the opposite side of the slip stitch marks of the flower pot. Attach it between rounds 13 to 16. Pay attention to the direction of the text. Thread through the reserved loops. After finishing one side, carry the yarn across to the other side. Finally, tie a knot and weave in the ends. This way the leather label is done. And the flower pot is also completed. Next we will learn about the floral foam. Start with a magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Stuff it after completing, and sew it inside the flower pot. Before crocheting, let's take a look at the chart. The chart uses our plus number to indicate the round number. The column labeled increases and decreases explanation shows the stitch techniques needed for crocheting that particular round, as well as any increases or decreases required. The column labeled Total Stitches indicates the total number of stitches after completing all the stitches for that round. Next, watch me demonstrate the specific crocheting method. The chart says magic ring for casting on, which means using the magic ring technique to start. First, make an adjustable magic ring. Casting on is now complete. Now crochet round 1. R1 means 6 single crochets. The number before the stitch tells you how many stitches to crochet. This means crochet 6 single crochets into the magic ring loop. First, make 1 chain stitch as the turning chain for single crochet. This turning chain isn't marked on the chart, but in reality, when crocheting in rounds, you always start by making a turning chain, and the turning chain for single crochet doesn't count as 1 stitch. Then crochet 6 single crochets into the magic ring loop. After completing, check the stitch count. The total number of stitches for each round is clearly marked on the chart. We won't repeat this reminder later. Now close the magic ring loop. Simply pull the yarn tail tight. Tighten the center of the fabric piece. And the loop is closed properly. Next, work into the first single crochet stitch. Work 1 slip stitch. If you do not know where the very first stitch is, count the stitches from the back side. It's this braid. The joining slip stitch does not count as a stitch. Need to pull tight. The slip stitch is not indicated in the form, but when crocheting in rounds, you always finish by joining with a slip stitch, and then pull it tight. This completes the first round. Now move on to the second round. R2 means 6 single crochets increases. If there is a number before the V, work that many single crochet increases. Here it means work 6 single crochet increases in a row. Start with 1 chain as your beginning chain. Let me emphasize again, when crocheting in rounds, you always begin by working a turning chain. I won't repeat this explanation in the following steps. Pick up the stitch and work a single crochet increase. You can tighten the starting yarn tail together. Finish with a slip stitch. Please pay attention. After completing each round, always join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Trim off any remaining yarn tails. The second round is now completed. Continue crocheting the third round. Round 3 is 3 single crochets, SC2 in 1, times 3. The parentheses here indicate a group. Times number indicates the number of times to repeat the pattern. First work 3 single crochets. Then make a single crochet increase. Let me demonstrate again. First work 3 single crochets. Then make a single crochet increase. This is the second time. Continue and do it one more time. Finish with a slip stitch. Round 3 is now completed. You can take a look. The right side of the fabric has a clear texture, while the wrong side has a blurry texture. When crocheting later, always keep the right side facing you. Now move on to round 4. Simply work single crochets into corresponding stitches one by one. Once completed, the fabric will naturally curl. Place the wrong side outward. Rounds 5 to 18. Are all crocheted with the wrong side facing outward? Please refer to the chart and complete them. Round 19 requires crocheting into the back loops only. Once completed, the fabric will form this shape. After that, continue following the chart. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise, keeping the right side always facing you. When done, leave a yarn tail of about 1.2 meters for sewing. That concludes the explanation for crocheting the flower mud. Finally, proceed with stuffing and sewing. Take the weighted beads and place them on both sides inside the flower pot. Pay attention not to open the packaging bag, to prevent the beads from falling out through the holes in the acrylic board. Then add fiber fill into the gaps. During filling, you can use a pen to push the cotton into the middle of the flower mud. Make sure the groove stays vertical. Fill it firmly and evenly. Avoid deforming the flower pot. This is the final round of the flower mud. Sew it to the stitch position of the 22nd round on the flower pot. That is, the indentation right below the horizontal line of this inner circle. Fill until the top of the flower mud slightly bulges. Now proceed with sewing. Match up the slip stitch marks. Pick up the last round of stitches on the flower mud. Sew them matching the stitches at the indentation. Here, you can turn the edge of the flower pot over. Creating this effect on the outer side. When there's just a little distance left, if there are any areas where the filling doesn't fit well, adjust and add more as needed. Try to make the top bulge as evenly as possible. Once all sewing is done, weave in the yarn ends. Tidy up the flower pot. That's how the flower mud is completed. Next, we'll learn how to make the pen cover. Start with a magic ring method. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The technique is similar to how we started the flower mud. The only difference is that after completing the third round, flip the textured right side to the outside. Then crochet evenly without increasing or decreasing. While crocheting, you can test it with the pen. The pen should fit perfectly into the fabric. Not too tight or too loose. If it doesn't fit well, adjust based on the actual situation. Adjust your tension and recrochet as needed. You'll also need to switch colors during the pen cover crocheting process. Here I'll demonstrate using a small swatch. Simply break the yarn here. Then take a new strand and insert it into the slip stitch position to join. Continue crocheting. Weave in the yarn tails together at the same time. After that, just keep crocheting downward. The exact number of rounds for the pen cover is just a reference. You can check the fit as you crochet. Just crochet until reaching the edge of the pen cap. Once done, break the yarn and finish off. The finishing method is the same as the final closing technique used for the flower pot. Finally, hide the yarn tail inside. Everyone, go ahead and complete it. Look here everyone. Next we'll secure the pen cover to the pen. Here I'm demonstrating with a small swatch. The color scheme of the pen cover is not for reference. Put the pen cover on properly. Slightly slide it down a bit. Apply glue right here. Then put the pen cover on. Wipe off any excess glue. Make sure to adjust it properly. Align it with the pen cap. Let the glue dry completely. Then attach the pen cap to the center groove of the floral foam. Here, apply a little glue to the top of the pen cap. Carefully insert it into the bottom. You can now insert the pen in place. Note that you must insert it all the way to the bottom. Once the glue has dried, test by inserting and removing it once. Make sure it is securely fixed. That concludes the explanation of the pen cover. Next, let's move on to the flowers. They are made up of small petals and large petals. We will crochet them first and then assemble them together. Start with the large petals. A total of 3 pieces. Use the foundation chain method to start. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise along the foundation chain. Thin wire needs to be added during the process. Start with a chain stitch. First, make a knot. Then crochet the corresponding number of chain stitches. The starting chain is now complete. Next, crochet the first round. Begin by making 1 chain stitch as the beginning chain. Start from the second to last chain stitch. Pick up the front loop and work corresponding single crochets. Work 3 single crochets into the last chain. Now reach the other side of the foundation chain. Insert into the previous stitch's insertion point. Work corresponding single crochets, mindful not to crochet into the rightmost chain stitch. Weave in the yarn tail together. Work 2 single crochets into the last insertion position. Finish with a slip stitch. The first round is complete. Move on to the second round. Start with 1 single crochet increase. 1 single crochet. 7 double crochets. Three half double crochets. 2 single crochets. 1 single crochet 3 in 1, which means working 3 single crochets into the same position. SC 3 in 1 completed. Continue crocheting the corresponding stitches according to the chart. Finish with a slip stitch. The second round is complete. Continue crocheting for 3 more rounds. Start following the pattern chart. Now at the position for single crochet 3 in 1. First, make 1 single crochet increase. 1 chain stitch. Skip 1 stitch underneath. Make 1 single crochet increase. Continue picking up stitches and crocheting the corresponding stitches. Finish with a slip stitch. The third round is complete. Finally, crochet the fourth round. This round needs to wrap the wire inside. Start with a beginning chain. Take out the wire. Crochet while wrapping it in. After completing the single crochet, fold the excess part. Continue wrapping the wire. Try to place the wire behind the fabric. The front side should look smooth without visible texture. Crochet a series of half double crochets. You'll come across places where you need to crochet both a half double crochet and a single crochet in the same stitch. After that, crochet one single crochet. Work one half double crochet and one double crochet into the left stitch. Crochet one single crochet into the chain space. On the left side, continue with one double crochet in the same stitch, and one half double crochet. Continue picking up stitches, and crochet the corresponding stitch patterns. Finish off with a slip stitch. Don't pull it too tight. Leave a 40 cm yarn tail and fasten off. Tidy up the wire. The fabric should have a slight curve. Trim leaving about 5 centimeters. Fasten off on the wrong side, where the texture is blurry. You can use a sewing needle for assistance. And that's how you complete a large petal. Crochet the remaining large petals using the same method. Leave a 10 cm yarn tail at the end, then fasten off and hide it. Everyone complete this part. There are also 3 small petals. The crochet technique is similar to the large petal. Wrap the wire into the last round as well. Leave a 40 cm yarn tail on one petal before cutting the yarn and fastening off. For the others, just leave a 10 cm yarn tail, fasten off and hide it. Everyone complete this part. That's all for the explanation of the petals. Finally, assemble the flowers. First, take the small petals. Thread the yarn tail through the sewing needle. Make sure the textured right side faces out. There is a dent on one end. That's the pointed tip of the petal. Facing upward. The bottom gathers around the pen holder. At the color change point, use the reserved yarn tail to sew the base onto the pen holder. Each petal here takes up 3 stitch positions. Simply pick up the stitch and sew it in place. At the point where 2 petals meet, you can sew 1 stitch. To gather the bottom together. Finally, weave in the ends. Tidy up the petals. Push them outward to create a protruding shape. Make sure the curve is full and rounded. The tip should curl outward. Next, attach the large petals using the same method. Sew them to the outer side of the small petals. Align with the indentation of the round below. Stagger them slightly. Once done, simply weave in the ends. Next, adjust the shape. On the inner side of the large petal's tip, at the seam where it meets the small petal, use glue to secure it in place. The tip of the large petal should also curl outward. Make the curve of the large petal slightly raised, the raised part on the inner side. Secure it at the seam. You can use a pin to hold it in place here. The tips of the petals should be roughly level. The exact shape of the petals can also be adjusted according to your preference. Let the glue dry completely. Once it's securely fixed, remove the pin, and the flower is now assembled. Finally, create the decorations, including large and small pom-poms, daisy flowers, acrylic flowers, butterflies and a clothespin. Please watch my demonstration for the specific method. Start by making the large and small pom-poms, 1 large pom-pom, and 4 small ones. Refer to the chart for the exact color scheme. You can also adjust according to your preference. Here I'll demonstrate how to make the pom-pom. First, take the loop from the yarn ball. Flatten it and fold it into thirds horizontally. Take a piece of thread, in the same color as the pom-pom. Fold it in half and place it inside. Then wrap one strand of yarn around the loop. The number of wraps can be referenced from the chart. Once done, cut the yarn. And tie a knot with the inner threads. Remove it. Tighten the yarn. Cut through the loops. Tidy up the shape. Trim into a ball shape according to the chart's dimensions. Here's the specific pom-pom diameter. You can also adjust based on your preference, or fit it to the actual project in hand. Once roughly trimmed, use a sewing needle to fluff up the threads. Make it fluffier. Finally, trim to perfection. Trim the knotted yarn tails short. Similarly, fluff up the ends. And that's how a pom-pom is done. Repeat the same method for the remaining pom-poms. Finally, arrange the pom-poms on top of the floral foam according to the actual layout. Wrap around the pen casing in a circle. The larger pom-poms can be placed on the left side of the leather label. You can also adjust the exact placement based on your preference. When attaching, place the side of the pom-pom with the knot onto the corresponding position. That's all for the large and small pom-poms. Finally, glue on the daisy flowers, acrylic flowers and the butterfly. You can refer to the finished product for placement. Try to attach them on the side with the leather label, but feel free to adjust based on your preference, mindful that the butterfly wings can be folded slightly to make it more three-dimensional. Pay attention to the front and back sides of the daisy flowers. Finally, insert the memo clip into the floral foam. If you've decided on the position and won't change it, you can apply a bit of glue to the end before inserting. Just insert it once the position is set. Once the glue dries, the position will be secured. Feel free to decide whether to glue it based on your preference. That's all for the decoration. Up to this point, the entire decoration has been explained. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website, Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.